The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to our Gazelle Systems webcast, where you will learn how our Rhythm Cascade programs will get 100% of your team executing off the same page. Before we get started, I wanted to ask a few polling questions from the audience just to get a feel for the audience, get to know you better as an audience. And so I want to ask a few polling questions. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a couple of minutes to answer some of these questions as we're waiting for some of the other folks to join the webinar. So here's the first polling question. Do you have a Rockefeller Habits one-page strategic plan? So if you wouldn't mind, just take just a quick second to answer that question. That'd be very helpful for us. Do you have a Rockefeller Habits one-page strategic plan? Okay, good. Lots of folks answering that. Give you another second to answer that. Do you have a Rockefeller Habits one-page strategic plan? Okay, so it looks like about 74% said yes, and about 26% said no. Thank you, that's excellent. Second question is, do you have quarterly planning sessions with your executive team? Do you have quarterly planning sessions with your executive team? Okay, so overwhelming majority do. Over 85% do have quarterly planning sessions with their executive team. Fantastic. Thank you. Next question is, do you have quarterly planning sessions with your departments, within your department? So say your sales and marketing team or your R&D team or production team. Do you have quarterly planning sessions within your department? A little bit fewer here, but still the majority are saying yes. So excellent. So those are some planning-related questions. Okay, now about 50-50. 50% do, 50% don't. Okay. Now some execution questions. Do you have weekly meetings with your executive team to review plan execution? Do you have weekly meetings with your executive team to review plan execution? So 70% plus say yes. Excellent. Okay. One other question. So this is with the executive team. And final question is, do you have weekly meetings within your departments to review plan execution? Do you have weekly meetings within your departments to review plan execution? A little bit less than the executive team, but still around 60%. So that's excellent, fantastic. Thank you very much. That's very helpful to us. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our webcast today. Again, my name is Ryan Walcott. I am your host for today's webcast. But before we introduce our speaker, I have a few housekeeping items to cover with you all. First, how's the audio? Can you hear me well? Your call is muted for the webcast today due to the large number of attendees. So please ask questions or communicate with me through the webinar control panel. You see that on your screen. There's a questions area and a chat area. So please go ahead and take a second to just chat me and let me know if the audio is okay and you can hear me well. I'd love to see a couple of chats come in. Okay, there's one that says yes. Great, thank you. If you have trouble with the audio, just let me know, and we'll have our team try to help you with that. Yes, okay, looks good. So fantastic, good. So please use the chat section to let me know if you have any questions throughout the webinar. And Patrick loves highly interactive webcasts. So please ask questions throughout the webcast. We'd love to have your questions and answer those for you. This webcast is being recorded, and you'll receive a link to the recording when it's available for you and to share after the webcast today. Our speaker today is Patrick Tian, CEO of Gazelle Systems, creator of the Rhythm software, and author of Execute Without Drama, Patrick's an award-winning speaker and a serial entrepreneur who has started and exited several multi-million-dollar companies. His prior company was 151 on the Inc. 500 list, and he's a winner of the North Carolina Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. If anyone would like to receive a complimentary copy of Patrick's book, Execute Without Drama, please let us know on the survey at the end of the session, and we'll send you a complimentary copy. Patrick is also in the process of writing his next book, and if you'd like to join him on this journey, just let us know, and we'll send you some chapters for review and feedback. On our webcast today, Patrick's going to walk you through some of the wonderfully simple tools Rhythm Cascade offers. Patrick, it's great to be here with you today.
Hey, Ryan, thank you. And thank you for everyone for joining us at this webcast. I'm totally excited about showing you Rhythm Cascade. Let me first start by sharing a couple of stories of our clients. And I kind of think of them as rhythm heroes. And many of you have actually heard me speak before, so you know that I like to share about our clients and give you some practical learning. So let me just kick it off that way. I think of our clients as rhythm heroes because these are typically successful companies who have grown. Most of them are between 10 million and 200 million in size, and because of the growth, the number of activities to manage has also grown exponentially. And as the business grew, complexity increases, and I know many of you are clients in this audience as well. So the questions that our clients asked us was, okay, how do we keep it simple and keep everyone on the same page as we grow? And every week, how do we maintain this weekly focus as a team? And it's great from the polls that we see that lots of you guys are doing weekly meetings with the executive team, and a lot are also doing your departments already as well. So that's great. And so the question as they move fast, how do we have the discipline to make the right decisions, and how are they beating the competition? Because most of our clients are doing that. They're actually strong, winning in this current economy and beating the competition. So I'm going to share a couple of quick practical stories from the field with you. First, I want to introduce you to Mark Lancaster. He's the CEO of Employment Group, which is a staffing and employment agency. They have been using Rockefeller for a very long time. He is what I consider an expert Rockefeller habits user, one of Vern Harnish's early clients. And I can't show you the video on this webinar because we've tested it. Doesn't really work very well. So you can actually go to our YouTube channel. The link is on the screen, and you can actually listen to Mark Lancaster. And when you do that, what he'll tell you about is how Rhythm has helped him keep his team focused and aligned. And he'll tell you how they are successful because they review the top rocks, the top 5 rocks every single week. By doing that, they can have great weeks, and by having great weeks for 13 weeks in a row, they can have a great quarter, and ultimately a great year, and ultimately fulfilling the company's vision as they continue to grow. So Rhythm helps Employment Group keep the team focused on the top 5. And by the way, their customer loyalty is great. Their customer loyalty rating is 400% better than their peers in the industry. Totally awesome. Congratulations to Mark Lancaster. The other case that I want to share with you real quick, Jorge Partidas, he's the CEO of Wau Movil. Mobile is a very fast-growing company in the mobile marketing space. They are considered today the mobile marketing gateway for Latin America. And Jorge has to manage across 17 different countries. And so I asked him, I said, hey, Jorge, give me some advice. I'd love you to share some advice to our customers and prospects, about folks who are considering using Rhythm. And he said to me, he said, Patrick, the first thing I'll share with you is that Rhythm isn't for everybody. It's for the companies, though, that are growing quickly, that are really focused on quality objectives and have a great need to track performance weekly and make adjustments. And I asked him, I said, Jorge, well, isn't it everybody? He says, well, it should be everybody. He said, but really the ones that really, really need this badly are the ones who are in a very competitive market. The competition is very, very fierce, and you've got to have an advantage. And so he and I talked about it. He said, Patrick, you don't really need to have months or years to be faster than your competition to an advantage. In a fast-moving industry, even days or weeks is a fast and strong advantage for you in a fierce industry. So he said, okay, for guys who need to do that and have fierce competition, that's a great tool. We have a good number of customers using Rhythm today, and I thought I'd just show you a sample of the customer base that we have that are actually using Rhythm to help them with their execution right now. And so before we talk about Rhythm Cascade, I thought it'd be good to give you a quick update on where we've been with Rhythm. Rhythm today is about 3 years old, and it's a software as a service product, which means it's web-based. And over the last 3 years, we've had about 7 or more product releases. And so our product releases have been pretty consistent, and it's in its 7th plus version right now. Over the last 3 years, we've had the pleasure of helping more than 50 companies to work on their execution. And with helping these companies, we've actually helped them plan about 300 plus quarters. And so as you know, in our process, we help everybody plan to have a great quarter. So we've done about 300 plus quarters have been planned inside of Rhythm. Today, we have about 600 plus executive team users. That's really cool. And our coaches have actually helped run, or rather helped in coaching, about 1,000 plus coaching sessions using Rhythm as a tool. With all these people using Rhythm, our methodology is to help you guys with weekly updates every single week so that you can update your status and focus on solutions versus on status. And so we see about 100,000 plus status updates a year. That's a lot of statuses being updated in Rhythm. That's kind of cool. I thought it was a cool stat to show you. And by the way, Malcolm Gladwell shared with us in his book, Outliers, that it takes about 10,000 repetitions to become a grandmaster. And so with 100,000 plus status updates a year, we see a lot of different patterns. And we've been able to really understand and drill in and do some analysis of patterns. So for example, we can help companies figure out that some of the executives are what I call green, 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 red guys and gals. Kind of think they're okay, and at the last minute, status goes to red. Or some people could be red, 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 green kind of folks. And we're able to help them, coach them so they can forecast better. And with better forecasting, they can be better executives. With all these things and experience that we've had, I asked myself the question, what did we learn? What did we learn from our customers? And so here's some things we learned from our customers. We learned that our customers really cared about getting their teams focused, aligned, and accountable. That for great execution, they had to really have a clear focus for the quarter, be lined up to do all the right things together, and then have the right success criteria to be accountable to each other. Then they asked us, they said, Patrick, this stuff works great for our executive team, and how do we extend this, Bill? How do we extend this to our departments so that we can get our departments lined up with our company goals? How do we do this so that everyone in the company can be aligned? And how do we do this so that we can also have less work to do and get more done? Because as the company grows and more complexity is happening, how do we do that? So I asked my team, I said, hey guys, how do we help our clients win like a world-class crew team? And I had that image of a world-class crew team in my mind, and I thought I'd share that with you. That why did I choose world-class crew team? Because what's amazing about a crew team is it's not the team that rows the strongest that wins. It's actually the team that rows in the greatest unison with the best alignment that wins. So you don't have to be the strongest. You just have to be the best aligned team that wins. And so Rhythm Cascade is about helping you create focus, alignment, and accountability. It's about helping you have the right cadence, the right execution rhythm that you can repeat over and over again. For many of you, it's the rhythm that you're already familiar with, that you have your executive team. How do we extend that down to the rest of your company so that this wonderful execution rhythm can be just like breathing? How can we have just enough discipline with less effort every quarter as you get better and better and stronger? So I want to show Rhythm Cascade to you. I'm very excited to show this to you. I want to show you first the business side. There's 4 steps to using Rhythm Cascade. The first is our coaches will help you with quarterly planning. Secondly, you want to do your company's plan. Think of it as the executive's plan. And then how do you take that and cascade that down to your departmental plan? And finally, how do you make sure that you have the right focus, alignment, and accountability going into your quarter, right? You want to make sure that you have that you're aiming for the right targets before you start your quarter, because it'd be very frustrating to be executing halfway through your quarter and figure out that you've been looking at the wrong targets. And so those are the 4 steps I want to show you real quick how this is done in our program. So step number 1 is quarterly coaching. So what happens is that before you have your quarterly coaching, your quarterly planning session, your coach will actually get online with you and give you some analysis to help you plan for a better quarterly planning session. We'll help you through this quality progress report that you see as an example, and we'll help you see some patterns. So, lots of companies show up for planning expecting to have a great day. But the best companies, though, prepare to have a great day. And so prepare well, our coaches will help you look for bright spots, what's working well, what's not working well, opportunities for improvement, and some patterns that you can use in your planning. So for example, let's say you have a team member who consistently takes 7 to 8 priorities and ends up finishing, 80, 90% of them, right? So 10, 20% not done. And it's getting a little bit frustrating. And maybe for that team member, it will be demoralizing. And he or she may not know why he or she's trying so hard, yet falling short a little bit. So our coach will give you some analysis to show you what this person's capacity looks like based on past history and prepare you for a successful quarter. You may have to coach this person and say, hey, thanks for all your efforts, but it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, getting the right results. And maybe this quarter, instead of having 8 priorities, you want to back up, have 5, and see if you can get 5 to 100% versus 8 to 80%. So this is a good example of how quality coaching helps you before you actually walk into the planning meeting and plan your quarter. Step number 2 is to build the company's plan. We always tell our clients, hey, to have a quarter run well, you want it to be memorable. You want to know what's the key move for the quarter. How can you improve the company a certain way once a quarter? Because if you do that 4 times a year, you would improve the company 4 different ways. So what's our focus? What's our main focus? And what's the company's top 3 to 5 priorities? And what's your personal top 3 to 5? If we can answer those questions, you will have great focus. So let me show you how this looks like in Rhythm. So this is the screen that all our clients use today, and this is Rhythm for the executive team. And what you'll notice in the screen, I'm going to pull up 3 areas for you to highlight them. The 3 areas I want to highlight for you. The first is on the left side, there was the theme for the quarter. Shows you what the main thing is. What is the key focus for the year, for the quarter? And then what is the critical number? How do you measure your success? How do you know you're on track? The middle of the page shows you the company's top 5. These are the top 5 priorities for the company. And up top on the right side, where you see whose plan, it shows you whose plan this is. And this is Sizzle, the company. This is a demo company. So this is the company's plan. This is the executive plan. Now, for those of you in the audience who already use Rhythm, you'd be wondering, gee, I haven't seen that before. That little thing up on the right corner that says Sizzle, whose plan it is. That's because this is the one major new feature we put into Rhythm Cascade. We decided to make Rhythm Cascade simple. So simple that if you already know how to use Rhythm, you would already know how to use Rhythm Cascade. And so this is the main thing that you will see that's a little bit different if you are a Rhythm user. You will see that we now have a drop-down box that lets you see the plans for different groups. What I call a minor major, a minor tweak with major results. So now that you know the focus, what if you wanted to understand alignment? What if you wanted to know who on your team is aligned and working towards securing $400,000 contracts in this example? And alignment is about making sure that your personal priorities are aligned and lined up to achieve the company's plan. So if you were to drill in, it would then drill in and explode out a screen for you, or zoom into a screen for you, that will show you how different team members are putting their priorities to help secure $400,000 contracts. So you can see this demo, John sales, Joe services, Jill in support, John in sales again. So these are the priorities, individual priorities that these individual executives have that actually line up to be focused on the number 1 top priority. So if you want to answer the question, who's on number 1? Who's on number 1? You zoom in and it shows you immediately who's on number 1. The third piece is accountability. And I usually teach red, yellow, green for accountability. It's a real simple stop signs kind of a stoplight kind of a method. Green is your goal. Red is unacceptable performance, failure, and and yellow means that you need improvement. For your A players, we all have A players, right? We all have our A players and love our A players, and our A players all need a stretch goal. We call that super green. And be careful here to really focus on super green results, not super green effort. Okay? So accountability. So how does Rhythm help you with accountability? Well, behind every priority, if you click on that, it would pop up the red, yellow, green success criteria. And I think that what we've seen is the key to having great weekly meetings, focus more on solutions versus on status, is to have clear success criteria before your quarter begins, so that in your weekly meetings, when you discuss the status of a particular project or priority, it is very clear. Execute without drama is about cutting out the drama in your execution. What we've found is that if you have clear success criteria, it cuts out a lot of drama. No longer do you waste time arguing whether something is red, green, or yellow. If you can see the success criteria, it's objective, and it's red, or it's yellow, or it's green. So that really helps you with setting up the quarter in a way that you can succeed at the executive team level. So before I move on, I thought I'd pause and see if there are any questions. I've just gone through step 1 and step 2 of our 4-step process. Step 1 was about having your coach give you some insight analysis to help you with your quarterly planning. And step 2 was building the quarterly plan in a way that would give you some discipline and some tools to execute throughout the quarter. So Ryan, I'm just going to pause to see if there were any questions from our audience.
Yes, Patrick, we do have a couple of questions coming in. This one's from Matt, and Matt asks, how many team members is the most that you can host with the solution? Is it 10 or more? How many team members?
How many? The question is how many team members? Yes, you can host as many team members as you want. I mean, there's no limit on number of people, only a limit of how many groups and users you set this up for. And usually for the executive team level, we see somewhere between 8 and 12 users at the executive team level.
Okay. Here's another question from Joe. Joe's asking, in the energy map that you showed, are the squares, do they represent activities or people? What are the squares representing?
Okay, good question. Joe, right? Was that Joe, Ryan, that you said asked the question? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. So Joe was referring to this slide. Let me just go to it real quick. So this is the energy map. And every one of those squares represents a priority by someone on the team. So for example, if I have 5 key priorities, then I will actually have 5 squares on this map. And so it shows you where the effort of the company is going to, the individuals of the company, and where the efforts are focused on. So again, if I have 5 priorities in my personal list, and for those of you who use the one-page plan, that would correspond to column 7 of the one-page plan, then I would have 5 squares on this energy map.
Great. Okay, I got another question from Carol. Carol's asking, if we're Rockefeller Habit users in the one-page plan, is there a place in Rhythm for the one-page plan?
Yes, that's a good question. We, as you know, Verne are strong partners, and so we actually use the one-page plan as our strategy planning section, and all of the work that you do for your strategy, from your core values all the way down to your personal accountability is recorded in a one-page plan, and you can view it online. We can also print it out in an Excel format for you to kind of print and take with you as well. So you can get it both online as well as in an Excel format that you can print.
I do have one more short question. Does it work on Mac and PC? A simple technical question.
That baby. I'm on a Mac. I don't know about the PCs. No, I'm just joking. Yes, it works on PC. But yes, it works on both Mac and PC, and I'm actually using this on a Mac today.
Excellent. Those are all the questions for now, Patrick.
Great. Let's move on. Those are great questions. Please keep them coming. It keeps my energy level up as well, and helps me do a better job for you guys today. So step 3 is that how do you now take this beautiful plan, right, the executive team built, and how do you take this and cascade this down to departments? Well, there's a couple of things that we should do. First is you want to do quality planning with your department. And I think that in the poll earlier, about half of the people, 50% in the room, in the virtual room today, actually do planning with your departments, and that's great. A fast-paced environment, very hard to not, to get aligned without doing that. So I encourage everybody else to do that as well. And that is the best practice. So for those who are doing it, I congratulate you. Okay, so 3 things when you do your departmental planning meeting. There's 3 things you should do. First is the executive team should share your priorities. And when you do that, each executive should really share their personal priorities as well, because the departments want to know how do they support the company. And if you're my vice president that runs my department, how do I actually make you successful? Because I cannot be successful as a departmental team member if I'm not helping my manager achieve his or her goals to be successful. So in order for the company to achieve its plan, everyone's got to be successful, from the executive down to the team member department level as well. So share your plans. After that, department should ask, how can I help? How do I help with this? How do I participate with this? And then build the departmental plan that support the company plan, as well as the departmental priorities that executives don't necessarily see. So one example of that is, for example, if I'm in IT and I have to improve our technology infrastructure this quarter, that may be an IT departmental priority that's really key, but it may not float up to the top at the executive level, as long as I've done a great job with that. So that is something that the executive plan team did not plan in the company's plan, but in the IT department, that's one of the key priorities to get done this particular quarter. So that would show up as a departmental priority. So let me show you now how this is done. So I've already shown you this slide. To share the company plan, you will go to Rhythm and you pull out the company plan. You will notice the drop-down box over there says Sizzle. So this is the company plan. So if I want to show, once I've shown this plan, I've talked through it so that the departments understand what the plan is for the company, what's the company's top 5, and what are executive team members, each individual top 5. Then let's go build the company. Let's go build each department's plan. So to do that, you click on the drop-down box here that says Sizzle. If you do that, it shows you the list of departments that are in the system. Let's say we want to check out sales and marketing. So we go ahead and choose sales and marketing, and up pops the sales and marketing group's plan. So you see here that the sales marketing group is focused on managing the sales plan to close 4 deals. And remember, the company's plan was to close 4 $100,000 deals. Another key thing is hiring a vice president of marketing, and then they have a couple of different departmental priorities. You notice that this looks exactly the same as the screen for the executives. And so, yes, I'm a Mac fan, I'm an Apple fanboy, I can't help it. But one thing I've learned from Steve Jobs and Apple is the simpler you can keep it, the easier it is for people to use, and we shouldn't all be systems integrators to get value. So we've worked really, really hard. I'm very proud of my team. They've worked really, really hard to do this. And so the only difference you see here is the box up there that says sales and marketing. So this screen shows you the same kind of focus. The group or department is supporting the company's theme and company's overall main thing. It shows you the group 3 to 5, and it shows you which group plan you're actually looking at. It's really cool. The fourth step is to validate your plan. And so our coaches now come back and validate your plan. The worst thing you can do is to have a plan that you think is good, and you walk into the quarter and you've executed for 5 or 6 weeks and you realize that you did not have a sufficient plan. I cannot emphasize how important it is to have a sufficient plan. And so on a post-planning coaching call, your coach will test your plan, make sure that the focus is clear, make sure that you have the right priorities lined up, and make sure that you have the accountability built into your plan as well. And we'll ask the question, this is kind of the bridge between planning and execution. And so you need to cross this bridge from planning to execution in order to be execution ready. Once you've done this, you are now execution ready. You should have 100% confidence. You should have confidence that you have the right targets, that you're not aiming the wrong targets, and you should be ready to execute. And now what you see is that Rhythm Cascade has provided you just enough discipline to align and focus your company across the executive team, down the line to the different departments, and then horizontally within the departments as well. So that's a quick intro or quick demonstration as well of Rhythm Cascade to help make sure that everyone up and down the company is aligned, focused, and accountable. So I've got one more thing to show you, but I wanted to stop again and see if there are any questions before I move on to the last thing.
Yeah, we've got a question here from Nancy. Nancy's asking, can the team see everything? Is there any security or access restrictions built in?
That's a very good question. What we've done is we've built in some security in a very elegant way. You actually can have security for your various departments without having to load in an organizational chart. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. So we actually have the concept of groups where you can be part of a group, and a group can actually be a secure group or open group. So when you create a plan and a personal priority, you have a choice. You can make it a completely private priority, so it's completely personal. You can also create it as a priority that is only available to a group that cannot be seen outside of this group. And thirdly, you can make it as a priority attached to a plan that is completely open and transparent so the entire company can see it.
I got another question from Jose. Jose is asking, is there a quick way to know all the problem areas or the red statuses that my team is having?
Yeah, that is a good question. We have one of the reports is called the red report, where you can actually click on the red report and it will show you immediately which are all the priorities this particular week that have a red status on it. So you can actually zoom in quickly and go deal with those challenges and work on solutions immediately.
And one more question from Susan. Is the system web-based? Can my team access it when they're outside the office, or do they have to install any software?
Yeah, the system is web-based. You can access it. You can access it outside of your office. In fact, this is one of the key reasons why Jorge Partidas is able to manage 17 different, across 17 different countries, Latin America. So all his executives and groups are all logged into Rhythm all over Latin America. By the way, we actually have clients in Latin America, in Europe, the U.S., in the North American continent, actually, Canada, U.S., and Mexico, as well as Australia, as well as Singapore and Malaysia. So we actually have users all over the world using the system on a web base.
Okay, that's all for right now.
Great. So one more thing before we go, which is the concept of executing weekly and monthly, and this concept of action triggers. An action trigger to me is something that's in your environment that will cause you to take action. And one of the most common things we see is that when people have a problem and they're stuck, they get stuck in it for weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, sometimes 5 weeks. The beauty about having a weekly dashboard with weekly adjustments and weekly review is that your team can jump in there and figure out how to work on that red square and make it go to green and be helpful to each other. So weekly, in your weekly meetings, which most of you do for your executive team, and a lot of you also do for your departmental teams, which is great practice as well. It's the best practice. Congratulations for those who are doing it. You can have this dashboard to review that and jump on solving problems immediately. On a monthly basis, our coaches get into action again. And what we'll do is we'll review your dashboards, and we will help you get unstuck. We will prompt the conversations that you need to have. We will dive into our resources and knowledge base to help you get unstuck quicker. And so we also have inside of Rhythm a resource center that's ever growing, and I just want to show that to you. When you click on the help button, it takes you to the resource center. You notice on the left side here, we've got things like, how do you, an overview of Rhythm, how to log in, how do you record your quality plan, prepare for your weekly meetings, things like that. Now, under the quality planning section, for example, our coaches have put in some things like some PowerPoint slides to actually help you run your quality planning meeting as well. So we've got a number of resources we bring to bear. It's very interesting, right? A lot of people call this software as a service, and we at Gazelle Systems have really accented on the last S, which is service. So we provide you with software, but software itself doesn't solve the problem. It takes both people and process and tools to actually solve the problems and help us all get more effective. So we'll provide you with a lot of coaching resources. Some resources here that our coaches will use for you and with you, and some resources here as well that you can use to coach your team. So we actually have updated the resource center to provide some coaching tools for the executive team to actually use to coach your departments as well. But real quick, let's take a look at how to prepare for a weekly meeting. If you click on that, it'll zoom in, and you'll see one about that, how to prepare for a weekly meeting. we share with you the process, you update your dashboard status, plan your week review action list, and I actually take you through each screen so you can see how you can do that. You notice the execution tip, by the way. Set aside 30 minutes each week before your weekly meets, update your status, plan your week. If you do not plan your week will plan you. So we kind of call this the meeting with yourself. If you have a meeting with yourself and plan your week, and you'll do better the next week. If you wanted to see what reports we have, you click on that. It shows you how to use our reports. And so somebody asked me earlier, do we have the one-page plan? I said you can download it in Excel and print it out. So here's, you would do that in the report section. You can actually print the one-page plan. You can print the priorities dashboard. You can print the actions list, energy map, and here's the red report. Somebody else asked me about that earlier. You click on that, it prints out the red report, and then we have your KPI scorecards as well. So to kind of finish up, Rhythm Cascade is to help you achieve this focus, alignment, and accountability so that you can have just enough discipline to provide the doing side of the business. So I'm very excited to bring this to you, by the way, and I'm sure my excitement shows, but I'm super excited that we're able, most of all, to keep it simple, just like Rhythm. So if you are an executive team member, you're using Rhythm, you can use Rhythm Cascade with your groups very easily. And we believe that execution first starts with the right kind of leadership. And as a departmental manager or vice president, you want to be able to be confident and coach a team as well. So before you ring off or hang up, we have a survey coming up, and please stay on the line so that Ryan you can do the survey for us. Jim Collins in Good to Great says that you want to turn your flywheel one click at a time. And we hope to give you more educational webcasts as well to help you turn your flywheel one click at a time. Finally, excuse me, if you'd like to learn more about Rhythm Cascade, you contact Cindy. If you have any additional questions, please email me or contact Cindy, and I will provide the answers to those questions in my blog as well. And finally, if you'd like to get a sneak peek of my new book, please fill out the survey. If it's a story that's interesting to share, please share it as well. I'm looking for stories and a few exceptional stories, no promises, but a few exceptional stories may make it into the book. So Ryan, thank you very much for hosting our webcast. Back to you to finish up, Ryan.
Well, this concludes our webcast for today. Thanks so much, Patrick, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Again, please help us by taking just a minute to give us some feedback when the webcast completes. You'll see a screen with a survey after you close the webcast. Your feedback helps us to continually improve the quality of these webcasts. Again, this webcast was recorded, and you will receive a link to the recording for you to share or for your own use when it's available after the webcast. Again, thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.